What would happen if you woke up one day and knew with unshakable certainty that what your eyes see isn't the whole truth? What would happen if you discovered there was another way of seeing, not with the physical eye, but with the eye of the soul? This is no ordinary journey. It isn't an exercise in the imagination, nor is it a poetic metaphor. It is a revelation hidden behind the veil of programming, fear, and forgetfulness. Today we cross that threshold. Welcome to the forbidden technique for activating the third eye, the sacred portal of inner vision. Throughout history, various cultures, from ancient Hindu mystics to the sages of pharaonic Egypt, have spoken of the invisible eye, an energetic point that not only perceives the physical world but also captures the subtle vibrations of existence. In Hindu tradition, it is known as the Ajna Chakra. In Egypt, it is depicted as the Eye of Horus. In Western esotericism, it is referred to as the eye of the soul or of clairvoyance. But why was this ability so carefully guarded? Why did it become forbidden knowledge? The answer is simple, yet deeply disturbing. For to see with the awakened third eye means to see the truth. And truth, if it cannot be manipulated, becomes dangerous for those who wish to keep humanity asleep. Activating this center of perception is not a matter of spiritual fads or esoteric curiosity. It is a revolutionary act. It means reclaiming energetic sovereignty and breaking through the veils of a system that fears the free, intuitive individual connected to their divine destiny. In this video, we explore what the third eye truly is, how it has been revered and silenced for millennia, and most importantly, how to activate it in a practical, safe, and powerful way. I'll show you a technique that doesn't require any secret initiations or complex rituals. It simply requires something that has always been within you: attention, intention, and presence. Prepare yourself, because once you open this portal, you will no longer see life with the same eyes. What was hidden will reveal itself. Synchronicities will intensify. The signs the universe has been sending you will take shape and gain meaning. And, most importantly, you will begin to remember. Because the third eye doesn't lead you into the unknown. It brings you back to yourself. To the self you've always known. To all who observe with their souls. Are you ready to look beyond? Then stay tuned. Because what follows could be the first step toward the most important awakening of your life. Long before modern science attempted to define perception as the simple result of neural impulses, ancient civilizations already knew that humans possess an invisible organ that allows them to see beyond form. This organ, located exactly in the center of the brain between the two hemispheres, is the pineal gland. But its function goes beyond the biological. For the sages of antiquity, it was the abode of the soul, the eye of consciousness, the beacon that illuminates the invisible. In Hinduism, the Ajna Chakra, also called the command center, is located in front between the two eyes. It is not for nothing that it is depicted as a two-petaled lotus. One represents the rational mind, the other intuition. Tantric yoga schools teach that this chakra is the point from which the soul observes the subtle plane of existence. It is said that when the ajna opens, the practitioner not only sees energies but also understands the meaning behind events. You don't see with your eyes, you know with your mind. In ancient Egypt, the third eye was represented by the Eye of Horus, a symbol of protection, power, and clairvoyance. Its internal geometry exhibits mathematical proportions that astonish scientists today, such as the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. Beyond that, the Eye of Horus was also a map, an encoded symbol representing the various parts of the human brain, especially the pineal gland. It wasn't a decorative symbol. It was a guide to inner awakening. The Western esoteric tradition is not without its own elements. Alchemists spoke of the inner eye of the heart, Rosicrucians of the inner light, and Christian mystics of the single eye of the soul, in the spirit of Jesus. If your eye is a single one, your whole body will be filled with light. This eye is not meant literally, but symbolically. It speaks of the unification of perception in order to overcome duality. And when this happens, reality changes its structure. It's no longer just matter. It's vibration. It's not just a sequence of events, but a dance of meanings. Yet for centuries, this knowledge remained hidden, not because it was irrelevant, but because it seemed dangerously liberating. Crowd control requires obedient bodies and unbound minds. The third eye is the opposite. It awakens discernment, ignites the will, and connects with the primal source. That's why it's labeled dangerous, heresy, or fantasy. Not because it doesn't work, but because it works so well. Today, amidst the digital noise, constant distractions, and misconceptions, returning to this knowledge is more than just an act of curiosity. It's a calling of the soul. Inner vision can neither be bought nor imposed. It must be cultivated. And the most powerful thing about it, it's never completely closed, sleeping, waiting to awaken. And this awakening begins now. To understand how to activate the third eye, we must first dispel the notion that it is something exotic or foreign. It is not a spiritual enrichment. It is not a possession reserved for only a few enlightened ones. It is part of its original design. It's like a closed flower in the middle of your mind. It's always been there, waiting for you to hurry up, observe it, and breathe. The third eye isn't an eye in the literal sense, but rather a center of energetic perception that, on a physical level, corresponds to the pineal gland. This small, pinecone-shaped gland is located exactly in the middle of the brain, between the two hemispheres. Its location is not unusual, however. In many cultures, it is considered a connecting point between the human and the divine. The pineal gland secretes melatonin, a substance that regulates dream cycles. According to ancient texts, it can also produce a mystical substance, DMT, dimethyltryptamine, a visionary molecule that opens the door to spiritual perception. This substance, still debated in modern science, is called the spirit molecule. However, you don't need to ingest anything externally to access it. You simply need to awaken the natural channel through which this vision can flow your focused attention. How do we do this? With intention, breathing, and a special technique. But before we reveal it, we must understand a key principle. The third eye is not merely for seeing visions. Its true function is to reveal the essence behind appearances. It is the center of clarity, of sacred discernment. Activating it doesn't mean hallucinating. It means perceiving more deeply what is already in front of you. The hidden emotions of others, the synchronous signals of the universe, the invisible patterns in your own life. The forbidden activation technique wasn't banned because it's dangerous, but because it changes the individual. It makes them less manipulable, more intuitive, and more connected. And that's a problem in a system based on control. Here comes the first step. Create a field of silence. The third eye doesn't thrive in noise or haste. You need peace, but not just externally. You need inner peace, the kind of stillness that can only be achieved when you detach yourself from the flow of automatic thoughts and enter a state of presence. The second step is concentration. Not mental effort, but vibrational concentration. Focus your attention on the candy in the center of your forehead. Imagine a violet light beginning to pulsate there. You don't have to see this light with your eyes closed. Just feel its presence. It is a light that looks inward, like a lighthouse that returns to shine from the soul. And the third step is rhythm. Activating the third eye is best when accompanied by conscious cyclical breathing. Breathe in for 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 4 seconds. Breathe out for 4 seconds. Remain in the empty 4. This is square breathing, used in various traditions to create inner visions. During this breathing, imagine that each cycle nourishes this violet light in its inseparable state. Gradually, this light begins to spin, like an awakening galaxy. Each rotation sheds a layer of fleece. Each exhalation releases a learned lie, until the moment comes when you no longer imagine anything. You remember how to see without eyes, how you perceive from your sacred core. This is only the first half of the journey. Preparation, the awakening of the sense of smell. As soon as the light of the third eye begins to awaken, something subtle but irrevocable changes. You can no longer see the world with the same eyes. Something glows behind the objects. There's a rustling in empty spaces. Something resonates in words that once seemed flat. This is no illusion. It is the first access to subtle vision, to that invisible dimension that has always been there, but remained hidden by the overexposure of the obvious. Activating the third eye is just the beginning. The real work lies in stabilizing this perception. Like a spiritual muscle, Ajna requires constant practice to maintain its clarity. Many aspiring awakeners make the mistake of seeking quick, spectacular experiences, lights, colors, visions. But the true vision of the third eye is not pyrotechnic. It's deep, quiet, and unpleasantly revealing. One of the first signs you'll notice from this center is an excessive awareness of other people's emotional and energetic truth. You notice when someone says something but radiates a different vibration. Your body becomes a fine radar that distinguishes mask from face and intention from speech. This kind of sensitivity should not be understood as judgment. It is a call to awakening compassion. Understand that we all navigate layers of the subconscious, and that you can now recognize them. However, this new perspective also brings challenges. The first is the distortion of the spiritual ego. When the third eye is activated, the ego may attempt to appropriate the gift. It feels special, superior, enlightened. Many paths diverge here because the truly obvious doesn't strive to stand out. Strive to serve. Seeing more is not a reward, but a responsibility. The second challenge is excessive openness. If the third eye opens too quickly or without anchoring, it can cause symptoms such as insomnia, anxiety, or a disconnection from physical reality. Therefore, it is important to always work in balance with the lower chakras, especially the root chakra. Spiritual visions must be grounded in the earth to avoid becoming an escape. It's like turning on a very powerful flashlight. You have to hold it steady so it shines without blinding you. How do you establish this awareness? 1. Daily ritual. Regular practice, even if only briefly, is more effective than long, sporadic sessions. A few minutes at dawn or dusk, focusing your attention on the center of the gap and breathing calmly, will ensure that the channel remains clear and clean. 2. Vibrational awareness. Choose your surroundings, conversations, and content more consciously. Everything you consume feeds or clouds your inner vision. If you feel like something is clouding your vision, take a look. If something brings you enlightenment, cultivate it. 3. Symbolic recording. Keep a vision notebook, not to document every experience, but to record the patterns, symbols, colors, or phrases that recur in your visions. The universe speaks in metaphors, and your third eye is the interpreter. 4. Body anchoring. Inner vision is not separate from the body. Incorporate practices like yoga, mindful dance, or meditation. You'll find that the more you connect with your body, the clearer your soul's vision becomes. Remember, seeing more doesn't mean seeing what others don't see. It means seeing what has always been there, but from a deeper level. The world doesn't change, it just changes the way you perceive it. And in this new perception, everything takes on new meaning. The fleece has been crossed, but the journey isn't over yet. Living with an activated third eye doesn't mean becoming an ascetic, detached from reality. On the contrary, it means living more deeply in the present, seeing the invisible in everyday life, and perceiving the essence behind the form. In short, it means living awake. One of the keys to maintaining this active vision is developing non-judgmental mindfulness. Your inner perception will reveal things you'd rather not see. Shadows within yourself, superiors in others, false structures you once blindly trusted. Many people close themselves off here, not because they can't see, but because seeing is painful. Yet this pain is the prelude to liberation, to ceasing automatic behavior and beginning to live according to the truth. The first piece of advice is simple yet profound. Put your vision into action. Observing is useless if you don't act accordingly. If you recognize that a relationship is based on manipulation, passive observation isn't enough. Take action. If you feel that your work is extinguishing your inner light, make the adjustments within your power. The third eye is not a spiritual ornament. It's an inner impulse that points toward a goal. But you have to follow that impulse. Second piece of advice. Protect your energy like you would your home. The more you see, the more you absorb. Your auric field becomes more sensitive and permeable. Surrounding yourself with a dense environment, toxic messages, or time-consuming people can extinguish the newly rekindled flame. It's not isolation. It's energetic discernment. Use salt baths, cleansing meditations, and harmonious sounds. turn your body and your surroundings into a vibrational temple. Third, don't get lost in phenomena. Many people begin to see colors, sense presences, and receive messages, and then become confused. They believe that's the goal. However, the true purpose of the third eye is not to see things. It's to remind you who you are. Everything else is a guide, not a destination. Fourth, use your vision to serve. When you see things others don't, it's not to boast, but to help. You can be a beacon for others still navigating the darkness. Not with imposing words, but with your luminous presence. Sometimes all it takes is reaching out to someone with your heart, and they feel seen for the first time in their life. Fifth, be patient. The third eye doesn't activate suddenly. It's a flower that opens with the sun of your daily intention. There are days of clarity and others of snow. Both are part of the process. It's not about forcing the vision, but rather allowing it to emerge with humility. And finally, remember, you don't look outside. You look through yourself. Every image, every sensation, every message is nothing more than a reflection of your own soul. Don't be afraid of what you see. Embrace it. For in this vision, you will discover that there is no separation between you and the universe. There is a single eye, that of the spirit, which awakens to contemplate itself. Everything on this path leads to a fundamental revelation. The third eye is not a possession, but a sacred responsibility. Awakening doesn't make you a higher being. It makes you more conscious and more closely connected to life and its infinite symbols. You have crossed an invisible but very real threshold. And on the other side, there are no promises of power, but rather a call for presence, integrity, and compassion. Together, we have explored the secrets of the pineal gland, its connection to the inner light, the ancient practices that activate it, and the challenges of maintaining this open vision. You understand that the forbidden technique is secret not because it is dangerous, but because it restores the ability to see without intermediaries. And in a world where many prefer the comfort of the glands, seeing becomes a revolutionary act. But what does it mean to truly see? It means perceiving the underappreciated, discovering the invisible network that connects seemingly isolated facts, understanding that every encounter, every word, every emotion has a deeper vibrational root. Seeing means penetrating the sacred geometry of existence and realizing that nothing is out of place, that even chaos has its pattern, that even pain teaches its lesson, that the universe is conspiring not against you, but with you. This awakening of inner vision doesn't happen in a fleeting, mystical moment, but in every conscious decision you make. By choosing silence over judgment, compassion over reaction, presence over distraction. The third eye is not a tool for escaping the world. It is a portal for entering deeper into it. Now that you know there's no going back, you can no longer forget what you saw. You can no longer feign ignorance. And that's a blessing, because in this new state of vision, even the smallest thing, a breath of wind, a glance, a repeating number, a tear for no discernible reason, becomes a message from the universe reminding you, you're on the right path. You're ready, but don't go alone. Share this vision, not out of compulsion, but out of inspiration. Other closed eyes wait for a word, a story, a look that reminds them of something forgotten. You can be that beacon of light. And if this message has touched you, if something has awakened within you, I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like and share this video with other seekers like you. Not because of algorithms, but because light multiplies when it expands. Remember, it's not about seeing new things, but seeing with new eyes. Open your vision, live with clarity, and may your inner gaze always be a bridge to the sacred.